Hello, I'm Quartermuncher. Welcome to the Quartermuncher experience, where I play RPGs I've put off for too long. Mato Anomalies is a turn-based RPG developed by Arrowiz and published by Prime Matter. It blends urban cyberpunk aesthetics with occult horror and philosophical sci-fi themes, released in 2023. I've played it on the PlayStation 5, but it's also available on the PS4, Xbox Series /1, the Switch, and the PC. I'm playing it because it has a reputation of being a diamond in the rough, and after playing it for just a little bit, I can definitely see that argument, so I want to dive in a bit further. However, this is not a review, this is a journey. Let me tell you about the Quartermuncher experience. Mato Anomalies was developed by a smaller studio aiming to merge classic JRPG systems with modern urban fantasy. It prioritized narrative ambition over mechanical polish. It's a story-heavy, dialogue-driven RPG set in Mato, a fictional metropolis inspired by East Asian urban landscapes. You alternate between investigating anomalies as a private detective and entering surreal, otherworldly dungeons that manifest humanity's hidden sins. The city of Mato is divided into districts reflecting social inequality, corporate control, and spiritual decay. Characters speak in philosophical monologues, often feeling more symbolic than naturalistic. You play as a fixed cast in the game. You have Doe, a calm, detached private investigator, and Graham, a mysterious guide figure/shaman who propels most of the plot. He is joined by Butterfly, a noble thief, Ringless, an informant from Mato, Smoker, an ex-soldier, Mist, a holographic idol, Lady Antebellum, a gang leader. Character growth is narrator-driven rather than player design, which happens in a JRPG. As far as towns and dungeons go in Mato Anomalies, Mato itself functions as the town. It interconnects everything. You've got NPCs that will offer quests and side quests. I can't talk about the town of Mato without giving away the story. You investigate a number of growing threats of anomalies threatening Mato's stability. Specifically, you're hired to investigate the Bane Tide/Handout, a drug that is related to this monster infestation, which leads to a far deeper conspiracy. As the story unfolds, the nature of reality, free will, and identity are questions, leading to some plot twists. And as far as the dungeons go, they are the aforementioned surreal abstract spaces known as anomalies. You've got symbolic architecture, color-coded enemies, as well as some puzzle elements for these labyrinths. They are more manifestations of the subconscious rather than physical places. Mato Anomalies has something of a split gameplay structure. A visual novel-style investigation and dialogue within the city itself, and traditional dungeon crawling and turn-based combat within the anomaly layered dungeons, etc. Once you're in the dungeons, you have some turn-based combat that, plays like turn-based combat. Unlike most RPGs, however, for starters, you have HP for the entire party, as opposed to based on a character-by-character basis, and you don't particularly have basic attacks. You have skills for all characters, which some have cooldowns, except they have one that does not. This can lead to some interesting party dynamics once you get more than 4 party members going. As far as progression goes, it's fairly straightforward but understated. You have weapons, you have a skill tree, and you have a gear system to mess around with for party bonuses. As far as side quests go in Mato Anomalies, they're fairly by the number. They're short dives into dungeons with a bit of lore expansion behind them, as a lot of good side quests should be.
You're better off not knowing anyway.
Mato Anomalies has stylized anime-inspired characters contrasted with stark, neon-lit urban environments with that neon cyberpunk feel I love.
Sounds fishy.
Dungeon visuals lean more abstract and minimalist, and clearly inspired from Persona 5. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Presentation-wise, it's text-heavy and deliberate. Conversations are long, philosophical, somewhat to the detriment of pacing and clarity. As far as sound and music go, we've got ambient tracks that reinforce the atmosphere. It's more atmospheric than anything else, but I liked it. Performances, as far as the voice acting goes, are competent but uneven, with some scenes that are just thrown in there. Again, the whole game is very low budget, with some scenes just abruptly ending, cut to load screen, cut to dungeon. As far as the difficulty goes, there's occasional spikes in boss fights, as you do. Difficulty stems more from endurance than complexity. On the PS5, I had a rather stable performance. There's some UI clunkiness and translation awkwardness, but that's bound to happen in the game. Load times are acceptable, but they are there. In my playthrough of Mato Anomalies, I could just feel the lack of budget this game had. However, I found the underlying experience rather captivating. It's equal parts diamond and rough. And here at Quartermuncher Theater, I appreciate that sort of thing. The atmosphere of a noir city was inviting if repetitive overall, but the gameplay and everything else kept me invested throughout. Come endgame, without spoiling too much, the plot gets less coherent and explained when you get to multiple dimensions and or time travel. Still not sure what it is. Maybe both, but there was one specific plot twist that actually got me. As somebody who's played many RPGs since I was a child, this is one where I can definitely say I did not see that one coming.
Is that even an option?
I even got the platinum trophy for this game. It simply required me to do all the side quests per chapter, acquire some bonus weapons and gears by grinding through a few bonus dungeons, and mostly just start going through the game as normal. Now it's time for likes and dislikes. I definitely like the Blade Runner vibes of Mato. In your home base of sorts, you're playing as a detective in a cyberpunk city. How does that not give Blade Runner vibes? Especially on top of Chapter 1 being named Like Tears in Rain. I also like the story in the game. It was made on a shoestring budget, but it does not fail to be interesting. I dug the comic book style cutscenes when they happened. They shift cutscene styles no less than 3 times per this game, so I enjoy them when they happen. Another element I liked was the clear inspiration from Persona 5. They're based off of the 7 deadly sins, not unlike Persona 5's 7 big labyrinth dungeons that occupy that game. I operate on the belief that a lot of most modern-day RPGs are somewhat based off of Persona 5, given its reputation within the community, and this game can definitely be described as what if Persona 5 was made with a lack of budget. It has a lack of a stylish user interface, which really hammers home the stylishness of Persona. As far as dislikes go, a lot of the in-game character models and portraits are just a tad off. Even the comic book portraits are separate sometimes. Butterfly, for instance, will have her mask up or down depending on which angle you're looking at her from. And other characters are just completely different from public versus the cutscene. On top of that, a lot of the NPCs are just completely faceless, even if there's characters you're going to be seeing multiple times.
If one
I also
strike is
dislike
not
the
enough,
repetitive
then I'll
battle
give
quotes.
the art of war.
I know it's something of an RPG
Charging
staple, but if
complete.
I hear if one strike is not enough, I'll give you 2 again. It's not too soon.
Someone order a plate of hot lead?
That was the best part of Mato Anomalies. I love finishers that give that feeling of oomph. The worst part of Mato Anomalies is Mind Hack. It's a card game minigame which would normally be right up my alley, but every time they boot it up, I give it a try, and due to RNG, I find myself outpaced, especially because these demons on the screen have some nasty counter effects that I don't even know if my deck has an answer for. I wanted to like it real bad, but I'm just disappointed by it. Alright, now it's time for By the Numbers. Mato Anomalies, I had to gather 12 weapons for one of the trophies. There were 7 chapters full of side quests for even more trophies. There was about a total of 55 trophies overall for the whole game. I cleared out about 10 chapters, which is really 8, including the prologue and epilogue. And the endgame took me 32 hours to reach at level 50. Till next time, I've been Quartermuncher. Thanks for watching.